Younger looking skin may not be just about fillers anymore. Beverly Hills Dr. Andre Berger ranks today's top skin longevity treatments, not just for skin, but also fat, ligaments, muscle, and bone. Stay to the end because he shares the treatment he believes may even help regrow facial bone.
For a long time, let's say for decades, um, aesthetic medicine, we focus primarily on camouflage. Okay. We're filling lines, we're tightening skin, we're doing that kind of stuff. We're masking age. That's kind of what we're doing. But, the reality is aging, it's just not a surface event. It's biological, it's structural, and it's metabolic. It's a process that combines those three things. But guess what? It affects every single layer of the face. It affects bone, it affects muscle, it affects fat, it affects ligaments, collagen, skin. I mean, even the energy in all the cells within the skin, they are affected. So, it's not so simple as people might want to make it to be. All right. So I guess what I'm thinking, what I want to say when people ask me to rank these things is that I'm looking into the future. I'm looking into the trajectory of where we are and where we're going. And I can tell you that any reservation that the future of rejuvenation is not simply looking younger. It's about preserving the integrity of the tissue, the structural support, and biological resilience. That's what is important. So with that in mind, let me give you some rankings on some of these things. I guess, hey, a good place to start is the thing that just everybody is kind of very familiar with by now. It's something that you'd be surprised by my rank. So I'm going to rank, first of all, hyaluronic acid fillers. I'm sure you've heard of those, right? There's a whole long list of them. But my rank is only 6.5 out of 10. 6.5 out of 10. You're going to ask me, why do you rank it so low? Well, let me spin it a little bit differently. So first, let's talk about why it still matters. Because I didn't give it a 0, right? I gave it a 6.5. So, these fillers basically transformed aesthetic medicine. Because why? One, you got an immediate correction. That's a wow, right? Immediate. Two, they could be reversed. You could put, you didn't like it. You could put in some hyaluronidase, dissolve those fillers almost instantaneously. Amazing. Three, they offered you the ability to do what we would call precision contouring. You could get very precise if you use them in the right way, and they could give you a lot of precision contouring. And I think a very important one for most patients is it's just a very low amount of downtime. So those are I think, the big reasons why they're transformational. Okay. And they're still very useful because they still help with refining the contour. They're really great with lips. So I would say they're the primary product for filling and augmenting the lip. They're also, I think, the primary product for improving the appearance of the tear troughs. Okay, that hollowness that causes that shadow makes you look tired. I think that's a primary target for them. They're also useful in shaping the chin, although there are other products that are, extremely useful in doing that as well. They're still good for jawline enhancement, and they're still good for injection rhinoplasty. That's the, surgery-free nose job, if you want to call it that. Okay. And I think they're the only reasonable, rational, best choice for that. And they do still offer hydration and support in that way for the skin. So you're asking me, oh, Dr. Berger, you said how great they are. So why didn't you rank them any higher? Okay, well, I'll tell you what. The problem is it's not the filler itself. The problem is the over reliance on the filler. Okay. Why do I say this? Because the overfilled faces, they have a certain appearance that is not desirable. They'll look heavy. They'll look puffy. They'll just look unnatural and, somewhat structurally distorted. Okay. And why is that? Because aging is not simply a volume loss problem. No, we age. Yes. And when we age, we also lose tremendous amount of quality of our collagen, tremendous amount of ligament support, tremendous amount of skin elasticity, of muscle tone, and finally of bone projection. Hyaluronic acid, and it's now being, rated as a 6.5. That's telling you something subliminally, and I'm going to tell it to you right on. It's telling you that we're now at the point where longevity and aesthetics converge. Because longevity medicine teaches us that healthier tissue ages better than artificially expanded tissue. Very important concept. So the future of filler is smaller amounts, more strategic placement, more structural refinement, and integration with regenerative therapies. Okay. Who are the best candidates? Okay. Certainly younger patients, yes. Patients who have, this is for the hyaluronics that I only rated 6.5. It's smaller amounts and younger patients. You want to address localized contour issues, not global contour. Little bit of facial balancing, small aliquots, and just a little bit of refinement. That's the best candidate for hyaluronic acids in 2026 and beyond. Okay. So the biggest risk in using those products is treating every sign of aging with more volume. And that's a bad thing. Fillers should support architecture, not replace it. And that's why I gave this a 6.5.
Fair. It's not like don't do it. It's
not like don't do it, but it used to be like a 9.5. Now it's a 6.5. Why? Because we've seen a convergence. We now have other opportunities to really fully respect the idea that healthier tissue ages better than artificially expanded tissues. And that's what we got to focus on. Okay. It's
perfect.
the trajectory of aesthetic improvement, planning for how we're going to look over future time. Okay. Not just trying to artificially create an illusion that is not really helping that future's trajectory at all.
Makes sense. Back in the day, I got fillers right underneath my eyes, and they made all these lumps, which I was never happy with.
Right. Well, so this is that's a great point, and it just shows you how the results, the outcomes that we get is really operator dependent. Okay. It's the injector. I mean, the material is the material. The material that you use is going to be the same material used in every patient, right? So that's not really a variable, is it? What is a variable is, the experience, the skill, and the operators, what they do. So that's why choosing your injector is very important. And sometimes, there's an example of one, you can use we're still on hyaluronics. I haven't given that one up yet, but not every hyaluronic is the same. That's why they're all different. They have different G primes, the different flow characteristics as a result, and they work better for different indications. So you have to select the right product, right? And then you have to select the right product for the right place, the right indication. So you're not going to put the same product in the tear trough under the eyes as you are deep in the face, because that would be completely inappropriate, and you have be much more likely to have a complication such as residual uneven contour or nodularity or lumpiness or unevenness and all that stuff. So again, operator dependent. Okay, the operator should have the knowledge to choose the right product for the right indication, the right place, and the desired outcome should match, that expectation should match, the skill of the operator and the specific product that's used among all the hyaluronics. If that makes sense.
It does make sense. And to be fair, I think she was kind of a new injector, and I obviously didn't even know the questions to ask, like, what kind of injection are we doing here? Is it appropriate for under my eye?
Well, look, the eye, under the eye, is one of the most delicate areas for injections. It's not forgiving. The depth of injection is critical. The amount you put in is critical to, be very cautious and careful about. So, that is an area that, if not done really correctly, is very subject to, problems like you've described, and it can happen. Luckily, you can reverse it with some hyaluronidase, but still that's, not, we don't want to be doing that if we can avoid it.
That makes sense. I talked to them about reversing it, and they didn't want to because they thought it would do a divot then. So I'm just here with maps on your mind.
Well, it would do a divot, but then you're going to refill it the right way. So now we're going to talk a little bit about some of these other treatments. So I'm gonna go to one that's very popular and for a good reason. Things aren't popular for no reason, and that's radio frequency assisted tightening of the skin. So we have two ways of approaching this, and they're both, I'm going to rank them differently. One is done with a little bit of minimally invasive technique, which is the fact that the energy is under the skin, not on top of the skin, penetrating from the outside in. This one is from the inside, and it's called
Stay to the end when Dr. Berger reveals the treatment he believes may signal new bone growth in the face.
Face Tight. And I ranked this 8.5 out of 10. I ranked it high. So you're going to ask me, well, why does that? Because it's really one of the very few minimally invasive technologies that, in a very meaningful way, addresses laxity of the tissue, but not superficially, at a deeper structural level. That's the key. Okay, it works. We call these, the medical way of describing this is, we have these fibroseptal networks. These are basically fibrous networks that kind of form the scaffolding, okay, which keeps our tissue kind of together and firmer and tighter. So this face tight works by heating those up, and it tightens them. It tightens the connective tissue. Okay. It stimulates the remodeling of collagen, which is, very important. And it does contract soft tissue. So it tightens by contraction as well. So it's got all these different ways of working that are, quite exciting, really. And why does that matter? Why is this, important? Because when you think about facial aging, we're really thinking about largely the loss of the integrity and support. Okay. And this particular procedure addresses that head on. Okay. Because, ligaments weaken, collagen degrades, connective tissue loosens up, and the face goes down. Okay. Going down. So that's why this procedure is trying to get going up to happen. Again, another great example, in my view, of how longevity and aesthetics converge, the convergence, okay? Longevity medicine is primarily about preserving structure and function, okay? Face height applies that same principle externally. So think about that. So instead of stretching skin tighter, we're improving skin quality and support. Okay? So these are critical concepts to understand. What are the best uses for this? I think, I love it in the jawline. It does a great job of improving the jawline. It's great in the neck for tightening the neck and improving all of those issues that I've already just addressed. Works right in the lower face. Okay. Take a line between your earlobe, corner of your mouth, and go down. That's your lower face. It's great there. Okay. It's great for early jowling. People hate that's what starts freaking people out. First thing, I'm getting a jowl. Oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm going to commit suicide. No, you're going to get face cut. And it's also great for Ozempic face. Okay. Post weight loss laxity. It's a very good treatment for that too. But, there are limitations to every therapy. They're not all like solve every problem. It's not a panacea. It's not a full facelift replacement. It's just not. And again, just like I discussed, and we talked about hyaluronics, it's very operator dependent. Okay. You need a skilled operator to get the optimal result. So it's best for, I would say, mild to moderate aging. It's not great for very advanced aging, advanced structural loss, advanced loss of structural support, which will give you more profound laxity. And, that's kind of beyond what pretty well any of these modalities would be able to help. At that point, you're going to have to do some cutting and, pulling of skin. That's reality. That's surgery. So that's my take on it. I think the most important thing to understand is the future is not tighter skin, it's stronger tissue.
Exactly. So if I've been losing a little bit of weight recently, I've spent the last 3 years building my muscles, and now my trainer is having me lose weight. So you can see my muscles, but I have like a little extra skin right here. Would it be good for something like that or no?
Now, for that, hey, that's a great segue. I love the way you did that. Okay. So, because I was going to talk about another microneedling energy-based technology that works very well. And I'm going to rank this one. I gave the face tight an 8.5. I'm going to give this.
Beauty seekers, we welcome you to subscribe to Beauty Seek to get notified and to learn more about facial rejuvenation.
I gave the face tight an 8.5. I'm going to give this one 8, which is still, in my view, very good. Very good. And and that's the Morpheus 8, the radio frequency with the microneedling. There are other devices out there. That's just a very popular one, so I mention it. But it's mostly the common denominator here is the microneedling with the radio frequency. And why is this important? Well, again, we keep talking about this. Skin quality has become one of the most powerful indicators of biological aging. Okay. It's a giveaway. Okay. So here, it's RF microneedling. RF is I call it the acronym for radio frequency. It stimulates collagen. It remodels the elastin. It improves the texture of the skin. It reduces the crepiness. You were just describing crepiness. Okay. It mildly tightens. And, it really improves acne scars. If you have acne scars, this is a great treatment, phenomenal treatment for acne scars, very helpful. So why do our patients love this procedure? Because very low downtime. Okay, they can go right back out there and get back to their business. They're going to see a progressive improvement, which everybody loves that, right? Who doesn't like progressive improvement? Even the sound of it makes me smile. Excellent. The results are more natural. So this is what we're talking about: natural beauty and improvement. And it's good for both prevention and correction. Okay, for prevention, you're basically supporting the structure. Remember, I told you, stimulates collagen, remodels elastin, improves texture, all that. It tightens mildly. You think about it as prevention. If you're looking good, this is going to keep it going. All right. But if you're starting to see some of these changes, this is corrective. Okay. Now, again, and you're going to hear me constantly coming back to the same theme, okay, because this is something that's very important and central to my philosophy of longevity and aesthetics, is that healthy skin reflects the healthy turnover of our tissues and a much lower burden of inflammation. Okay? I mean, what does it focus on? It focuses on cellular repair, on the reduction of inflammation, on regenerative signaling. You get a lot of, that's all the buzz now with the peptides. Okay, regenerative signaling. Okay. Guess what? RF microneedling aligns perfectly with that philosophy, because you heard what I said about it, right? Now, it's not a substitute for surgery, just like FaceTite. It does provide gradual improving results, so it's not an immediate effect. Okay. And again, if you have advanced laxity, that's still going to need some more structural intervention, just as I described with FaceTite. So those are the realistic limitations. But keeping all that in mind, I think what we should think about is the idea that skin is, it's not any longer just cosmetic. It's biological intelligence on display. Okay. So that's my take on that procedure.
Okay, before we move on, so my neck is taped to hold back my skin. For a little bit of this aging here, would RF skin tightening or microneedling be more appropriate, or something else?
Well, I mean, so there are some common denominators in a lot of different treatments. So, but from a, we'll say a long-term trajectory perspective, phase tight would be a good procedure because of what I told you. Morpheus 8 would be a good procedure, or some other radio frequency with microneedling device. There are many excellent ones out there. But there's also other regenerative, non-energy based therapies, okay, which we get to, that are going to either be creating some what we call biostimulation, which stimulates your own body to pump out more collagen. Yeah, pump that out, pump that out. That's going to strengthen your tissue. And there's also regenerative therapies, anything from fat transfer, okay, which is regenerative. There are some regenerative products, like, for example, Renuva, which we can discuss later. And from the biostimulation perspective, which I just mentioned, there are a number of different products that we could use that include, let's say, Sculptra, lactic acid, which is biostimulator. And it can also include hyperdilute Radiesse. This is Radiesse, that filler. But if we hyperdilute it, it actually has a very profound biostimulatory effect, great for the neck. It's also great for the face. But we dilute it. It's not like we're not trying to create volume. we're trying to stimulate, right, the production of collagen. We're trying to get the body to do what we want it to do to improve the structure of the tissue. Okay, and off-label, you can also use something called hyperdilute bellofill, which is same idea. It's a potent biostimulator, and by hyperdiluting it, you can inject it into larger areas and create a powerful biostimulation. That's another agent that's potentially could be used. We use that. So as you see, then on top of that, you thought I was done. I'm not, because we also have, believe it or not, threads like PDO threads, which can definitely create an opportunity for collagen stimulation as well. So you have this whole kind of long list of opportunities to deal with what you're pointing to. And it can all be very effective.
That's fantastic, because where I go, we've injected Botox in these lines here.
Well, that's a different problem.
Yeah.
That's a different problem. So Botox injections for these bands are called platysmal bands. Show me your teeth. Show me your teeth. Show me your teeth. Yeah. It brings them out. You see how it brings them out? Now relax. Okay, yeah, good. So some people that have these prominent platysmal bands, and sometimes Botox, can be effective in reducing the amount of contraction of the bands and softening the bands. Botox is not going to do a damn thing for the skin. Okay, now you can use Botox to improve skin quality. Okay, but it's a very different kind of way. It's injected very superficially and very dilutely, and it can definitely tremendously improve pore size. Okay, and it can have a dramatic effect on skin quality overall. And we use that both in the face and the neck. A lot of your people don't know about this, but hyperdilute Botox is actually a very nice adjunctive additional treatment that can layer over other things to improve the quality of the skin. But, and I use it in the neck frequently, and it is really very helpful. But so you've got the bands have to be treated. And if you don't want to do surgery, which you can release those bands surgically, and there's actually an amazing, lovely procedure. I love this procedure.
Beauty seekers, stay to the end when Dr. Berger shares what he has seen change facial bone structure on his own patient's x-rays.
So there's a procedure that will lift your neck, tighten your neck, lift your neck, and also get rid of those bands. It's called My Elevate. Okay, great procedure. And it combines many of the things I've talked about. One, it involves removing tightening skin and removing excess adipose tissue, excess fat. So patients who have issues where there's too much fat volume in the lower face, especially the jowls, and under the chin here. So we remove some fat. You don't want to overdo that, but we want to remove some fat. And then we use permanent sutures, no cutting involved here. Not one incision. Incisions are done, they're just like pinpoint incisions. They're very, very tiny, hidden. Use a permanent suture that just lifts up the neck. Okay? And it's permanent because it's a permanent suture. And the combination of the skin tightening, and use Face Tight for that, which I already told you, it's an 8.5er. And these permanent sutures give you this kind of lift. Now, again, it's good for mild to moderate. It's not good for more extreme laxity, but it's an amazing procedure. And, exactly, I give it an 8.5. Very good. Okay. So it's something that people should know about. But, again, we're talking about skin tightening, and this kind of fits into that kind of armory of different techniques and procedures I think we've gone through them all now. That can help tremendously.
Perfect. Elevate. Thank you for ranking that.
You want to talk about something else? I still got a long list we could cover.
I would love to keep going if you're comfortable.
Well, I'm going to talk about one that everyone knows about, kind of like hyaluronics. I mean, most people have heard about this one.
Beauty seekers, thank you for being here. Subscribe to Beauty Seek to stay informed and learn more about facial anti-aging.
And Dr. Berger, thank you so much. I'm so honored to have you, your wisdom, your thoughts on kind of Berger's facial rejuvenation here on Beauty Seek.
It's been fun. I really enjoyed it. I always love the opportunity to, tell people about my passion and what, I believe they should be mindful of and understand. So thank you for the opportunity.